So it's live on Facebook now.
Yes, I can see we are live.
Can you see we are live?
Yes, I can see that we are live.
Did you tag me there?
I'm going to take you just in a second.
All right.
All right. Okay.
So I was bailing out, Oscar. I'm having a very hectic day. So yeah, I was trying to bail out, and I realized that it becomes impossible.
I'm not going to let you go.
So, so I had to be here. Like I just stepped out of a NESFAS conference.
Oh.
So I asked, yeah. So the CEO is speaking there. So I had to leave and ask someone to listen on my behalf and take notes and stuff for the things I need to know.
All right.
So hectic.
So hi guys there on Facebook. I'm trying to greet people there on Facebook here. Geez, yeah, technology is good. Guys, how are you? How are you guys? Hey.
Okay, we are great. We are great. How are you, Oscar?
I'm doing so well. I'm so happy that we're doing this, guys. We need to help as much people as we can. There's a lot of things going on, and I was listening earlier on. There was a professor who was on channel 4-5 on news in the morning, and they were talking about how it's totally impossible for us to open schools anytime soon. It's
of course it is.
So that's one thing that everybody has to live with, and we need to try our best to then make a life without going to school. And that's, I think that's one thing that we need to very, very work on and accept what's going on. Let's accept our fate.
Sure. Yeah. Just excuse me, just to move this to the other side. So you see that I'm not wearing a suit.
Yeah, guys, just greet us there on Facebook. I see you are there. Yeah. Say hi to us on Facebook.
Okay, my lighting was a bit bad. Now I think it's okay.
All right.
I think everybody's with us. Guys on Facebook, you are free to send questions as the conversation is going. We are with you. Feel free to ask anything regarding to the conversation that will be flowing on here. So I'm going to give our guests to introduce themselves to us as we go on with the conversation. And we get on with it. Guys, I'm handing over to you just to introduce yourselves and to greet everybody as we go on with our conversation.
All right, I think TJ will start. I'll be the last one.
Hi guys, my name is TJ Malamule. I work as a coach and a speaker, and I hope today we'll have, and obviously I'm an entrepreneur. I hope today we'll have we'll be able to add value in your life regarding your journey and the changes that we're working with now, and maybe give you a few tips on how you can study. It's not a blanket approach. What works for me might not be working for you, but I just hope that by the end of the session, you'll at least get something, one or two things that you can implement in your own life, and it can be able to assist you. That's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. I think my name is Mokete, and I'm full-time employed at the Tshwane University of Technology in the Directorate of Corporate Affairs and Marketing. And what I deal with is largely digital communication, and which is an integral component of the entire communication department of the university within the new the new form of marketing and communication. You remember that was adopted by various organizations in the 21st century. So that's where the role of people like I come in. And from time to time, talk shows between 6 and 8 p.m. That is weekdays. I've been doing radio since Is it since 2012? Since 2012. I can't believe it's quite, yeah, it's been a while. So I've got qualifications in media. I've got a certificate from OnQ Communications. I'm currently pursuing a master's in marketing with the Tshwane University of Technology, and the surface of my topic is really on social media usage among varsity sports students, and I've got qualifications as well in sports management all the way to BTech, and I've got a social media qualification as well from the University of Cape Town and other various international academies like the Shaw Academy. And so from time to time, I get to sort of engage with students, obviously on the other side for the organization, to try and make education easier online. And this is, what we do from time to time. Just yesterday, we actually, trying to speak to the students around the fact that it's time for us to perhaps look at, teaching and learning remotely.
All right. Wow. No, that's great, man. That's great. Thank you guys for being with me today. I was saying this tips talk thing is something that has been in my mind, and I was wondering, where do we start? But eventually we have started. So the whole idea around tips talk is that we be sharing tips with people on variety of things. So we're starting on the issue of education, and we're dealing today specifically of how to study effectively from home. So thank you so much for accepting the invite, that we can be, chatting and people are just eavesdropping on our conversation. So
Sure.
as we engage. So I'm thinking yesterday, I realized one thing that's happening, and it took me back to 2008 when I was doing my Form 4 back in Zim. So Form 4, it's like your grade 11 before you go to grade 12, and then you do matric. So you write final exams, then if you pass, then you go to A-level. But now there was a crisis that our results did not come out on time for us to start the following year. So they had to come up with a strategy. Either we stay home until June, then the results will be out, then we go to school, or people must go to school using their media reports. So they eventually agreed. We used our media reports, and then we had to go find places for our A-level, which is like matric, but there it goes for 2 years. Here matric is just a year. So now we went. The unfortunate thing was that some people who had good marks in their midterm results, they could get places for Form 5, but then when the main results were going to come, they were going to have failed. So which means some people went to school for 2 months and then were dropped out. Some people went in, took certain subject, and they had to change subjects. So yesterday I was just thinking about that scenario, how complicated it was. And I was likening it to what's going on now, to say there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on in terms of what's going to happen. Are people going to write exams? I know most of universities, they're putting things online and all that. Some exams are going to be written online. Some, they might not catch up in time. Today they're talking about matrics. Will they write? What's going to happen? And there are different solutions that are trying to be driven. So from you guys, what do you think can be the best strategy now? What is, let's say, the Minister of Education is asking you for an advice. What can be your advice?
TJ, do you want to go first?
Oh, you want to go first? No, please do.
No. So I think just before I answer your question, I think there's a greater question that we've been posing among ourselves, Oscar, on what has been the greatest challenge, I think, institutionally for various individuals to obtain qualifications. And I'm quickly reminded of how social challenges from time to time become a greater obstacle, more than just the physical resources, but the environment sometimes doesn't become conducive enough for various students, irrespective of the lockdown. And I think I was one of those people who had challenges socially. I mean, if you come from a family background that is not structured in the moral composition of how families, where we got to know them, where there's both parents, where there's enough, social support. Sometimes, someone that is really clued up and have time to check your studies and advise you accordingly. I think that has been the stumbling block. But just to come back to the question that we're asking, what is critical at this point is for the authorities to comprehend the dynamics of the type of students that we have, not just in South Africa, but worldwide, but more so in Africa, and especially South Africa, where we have a society that is highly unequal in terms of resource allocation, unequal in terms of the social background, and that poses a very unique opportunity. I don't want to say it's a problem, but it's an opportunity for us to think extensively in terms of how do we make sure that we take everyone in this crisis, although it can never be a one-size-fits-all. So, for instance, what is essential during this period, it's for our leaders to, first of all, prove that they understand the type of people that they are leading, and then come up with ways in which that are going to accommodate the students within that area. I'll give you an example now. There's students that are studying rather with UNISA. UNISA is also a non-contact institution largely, and you'd find that it is not all the time. In fact, I'm not even sure if they're using online for lectures. So this is a time where we need to benchmark with people like UNISA, where there's been scores of other people that have been making it and passing through UNISA. It presents a unique opportunity, because of what it then means is that we need to also then online or through traditional communication platforms, make sure that we equip the people that are within the same households with those kids. For instance, if TJ is a father, and we know that TJ went as far as level 4 in terms of his Form 5 in terms of his education, what we need to do is to make sure that for a learner or a student that is in the same household as TJ, that we need to make sure that TJ is well equipped through traditional communication to be able to be of help to the learner or the student that is within the same household with TJ. So the responsibility is to make sure that we create teachers in households to make sure that students are not just being given laptops or study material without the necessary social support. And you would agree with me that the other issue, TJ, is the issue of discipline. I mean, it takes discipline for us to be here at this time during this webinar. I can tell you now that there's just a number of other scholars who had said that I'm going to join the webinar. But there's TV programs that are happening now, and they decided, nah, man, you know what, maybe I'll jump in some other time. Maybe I'll check it later on Facebook. So those are some of the dynamics to say, what is the role of family members in this? We can't exclude them because of they don't have, fancy qualifications from fancy institution. This is the time where we need to decolonize education and comprehend that teaching and learning can never be just for a certain few individuals, but it can be, something that we, impart on each and everyone that is within the space where our student needs to study.
Yeah, no, that's really a mouthful. TJ, to you.
So I like how he approached it, and it means then I'll have to take it on the other side. The first thing that we need to think about is the issue of change.
Yes.
Because how we were made is a human brain is not made to make you happy. Actually, according to your brain, you're supposed to be automated. You learn that when you do neuro-linguistic programming. Your brain loves automation and loves same. So imagine this. You started grade 1. It was contact learning. Exams, there are people. Grade 2, 10. 11, then grade 12. If you're like Oscar and I think Mokete, you went to those old schools, went to Form 5, then you pass. Then you go to university. And when you get to university, same thing. There's a lecture house in front and they must teach you and all that. So remember this. For the whole 12 years from grade 1 to grade 12, your brain was being programmed for you to learn in a certain way. Then you get into university, your brain continues. Then without any warning or any memo that was written, boom, you must now study from home.
From home.
Yeah. Then your brain says, what's happening? What is this? Because remember, you were really conditioned for that long, and then now you must go to change. So the first thing that you must try to look at is how then your brain reacts to that. How your brain then now starts to look at things in that manner. And what happens is that now the first thing that happens is you start to panic. First thing, it's panic. I get into a lot of these webinars. I did a lot since the lockdown, and any specialist, any futurist you will talk to, any student you will talk to, any professor you will talk to, everyone now, the first thing that happened is that you get into a mood of panic. Boom. What happened? All of us, we seem not to know what to do. Better for us to advise the minister was, the first thing is we must maybe first find a way to calm down, because we did not choose what happened to us, you know? And then when you calm down, now we must say, now that we are calm, what can we do second? The second thing now is like, we need to start thinking about what is this new reality of the unknown? I did several qualifications. Oscar, you know, I'm always studying. I'm always online. I'm always sitting in front of my computer, and I'm always learning something new every day. And with that, what you find with that is you need to start now to adjust and adopt. So you calm down, you adjust and adopt, because things are different now. You won't see people. You won't see Mokete making noise in the lecture room there at the back. You won't see Oscar laughing when at a joke on the other side. Now it's just you and a computer. Now it's just you and your books. And here it is. They that adopt quickly, they that become what? They become adoptive very quickly are the ones that are going to lead the system. So if you're going to learn to adopt quickly, you're going to lead the system. So then it means that we need to be able, as a student, or as the minister would advise the students, then what is it that you need to do for you to be able to adopt? What is the first step for you to do so you can be able to adopt? And I know most of us, you know, if you look behind me, there are a lot of books, right?
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get books. You know, these books online where you get a book and you must read from what? You must read from your phone or from your iPad and all that. I failed to adopt, and that's the thing. I failed to adopt. I want a hardcover. I want a hardcover copy. I want a hardcover copy. I want to read. I want to bookmark. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Now with this happening now, I must now go. I had to now go start buying books, start reading. And your brain, remember, your brain is not there to make you happy. Your brain is there to make you safe. So adopting means moving from being safe to becoming a bit unhappy. Then the third step to be doing the things that you are supposed to be doing.
Sure. Wow. No, thank you, because you just touched on something very key, because we are all in a state of shock for the past I think it's almost 7 weeks now. It's more like of a season of shock. From your businesses, you know, apart from just talking about, you know, students, from businesses, you know, jobs are just not safe anymore. So much uncertainty going on. And people's brain, that's why you hear levels of stress in people have gone so high, depression and all those things. So the first thing, like you're highlighting, we have to accept what's going on, accept our fate. And from accepting our fate, then we say, how do we move forward? You know, talking of UNISA, I did my studies with UNISA. I've got a BCom in risk management. And for me, it was really tough in my first year, because I was so used to the, you know, the classroom setup, you know, coming from high school. And I'm one person who, back then, I was not a good reader on my own. I was so good in, I catch something in the class, I'm good, I'm done. So now I had to adapt. And earlier on, Mokete, you highlighted on the issue of discipline. Discipline becomes so key. So I was struggling with disciplining myself to say, you need to do your assignment. You need to study ahead. Exams are coming and all those things. Because there is nobody who's marking a register. Nobody's checking up on me. I only have this calendar of submissions of what you call assignments, and I've got a exam calendar that's there. That's all I have. So as a person, you just have to find yourself and then discipline yourself and then manage through that. But no, going on, you've already highlighted things like family support, discipline. What more can I do as a student now? What is it that I can do? What adjustments that are needed for me that so that I can excel. Because at the end of the day, I still have to keep up with my brain being sharp. Because guess what? If next week they say, okay, coronavirus is gone, we are back to normal, everybody go to school, go back to work. But the honest truth is, for the past weeks, we had adapted into a new lifestyle. And I was rechannel my mind again. Now I'm waking up on time, rushing to a lecture and all that. So how can one keep up with their studies, keep up with their career, keep up that, whether they're writing exams now or they'll write later on, how can I keep up? How can I keep up?
I think I think there's a us to also tap into the mindset of the learners or students, whatever the case may be at this point in time. Now, there's this one gentleman, I just forgot his name, and I think it's a big mistake. And he once said that success becomes significant when you were able to pursue it beyond the excitement that made you to start. And Dr. Miles Monroe would often say as well that, knowing that something is right is not enough. You need to be, you need to find the conviction that this thing is right, because there's a lot of people that are qualified, high positions, they know what is right, but they continue to do what is wrong because they're not convicted, right? So what is needed during this period, it's more than discipline. It's more than the technical, steps of knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong. If you understand the reason why you need to be studying, and I think that is the one thing that needs to be important at this point in time. I think people are dealing with change, and they know that there's various ways in which they need to adjust to everything that is happening. But the fundamental question is, and has always been and will always be, why are you doing it? If you comprehend the consequences, whether good or bad, then there's a reason enough for you to do it. You get my point? I'll give you an example now. There's people that now that, in fact, people now are sitting indoors because the consequence is, if you're found outside without a permit or without a reason, you're going to be arrested, right? So the point there is, if you do not drop this plane, that is going to help you. If your mindset is not tuned up in the right way for you to, ask for help if you don't understand, or, adopt tactical ways in which you're going to make sure that during this lockdown, academically, you're not left behind. The one thing that would help you to get into that point is to comprehend, if I don't do these things, what is going to happen? And I think that is the one aspect that is quite essential, because I actually shared this I think this morning on my socials, that perhaps you must start enlisting that one of the surest ways of making one individual a successful failure is to solemnly take the blame and shift it to other people. When I shift the blame to TJ, I can comfortably fail and become easier, because people sometimes they don't fear failure, they fear the uncomfortability of it. But it's easier when I say, the reason I failed, and I see it in TV programs all the time, the reason I failed is because of TJ, as my father deserted me at an early age. You get my point? Yeah. So the minute we're able to get into people comprehending that, yes, it's a lockdown, you can say the government didn't do this or the government is doing that. But the question is, what are you doing? If you are not going to go through this academic season, you're going to fall part of the statistics that are unfortunately going to be in perhaps an unfortunate position when this lockdown ends, because of it's going to end, And I don't want to appear as if I'm preaching, because I'm not. But just yesterday on Home Sale, we were speaking about this gentleman Nehemiah, and I think in this passage he says he started building before the war can end. And this is the point where we need to make people aware that you don't start being ready for the fight when you're within the ring. You practice before, even when you don't know that you're going to be in the ring, so that when the opportunity comes in, you are ready. So that the point there is, once your mindset understands at this point in time that if you don't go through this season, whether the reasons are because of you didn't gather enough support, from the educational sector or government or your family, or whatever the case may be, the end result is you would have failed, right? And during that process, we're going to say, TJ, your uncle, didn't assist. Oscar, the Minister of Education, didn't assist. But the ultimate result is that you failed. And you then need to think about that and think about, say, how do I prevent, the actions of others to affect me? What are you doing individually to train your mind to say, maybe it's time for me to start finding ways of finding support? TJ, growing up, and I know it's happening even now, there's children who would risk going next door, or just there, so that they can watch either soccer or a nice TV program. My question is, in the same spirit, why can't you go next door to ask for academic help, or to go online if you don't have a laptop? I'm not saying that that should be the norm, but if they allow you to use their TV, I don't think they would be that bad not to allow you to use a computer for something that is going to be fruitful for your career. That is my view personally.
Wow, that's great. TJ.
So I'm thinking of something, and just to catch up on what Mokete was saying. And here's the truth, guys. Your results, when they come out, you won't be judged as someone who wrote their exams when there was lockdown.
Yeah.
You'll be judged as someone who wrote their exams. If you passed, you've passed. If you failed, you failed. And it's something that you think about. Unfortunately, it's unfair, but it's true that you won't be judged as someone special because there was lockdown. And here's the thing that made me think a lot is this. You did nothing to get into lockdown. No one woke up the other day and said, no, I'm going to be on lockdown or I will not be. So the president announced, and then we all have to follow it. So why did I have to start with that? Here's the thing. You must want it bad enough for you to be able to make it. So those who will make it are the ones who want it bad enough. Those who want it bad enough. Those who are ready. Like you were saying, that those who are ready to go next door and ask if they can borrow the laptop or they can do whatever so that they can be able to pass. So my reasoning says whoever that's going to pass is someone who's going to want it bad enough, who's going to push themselves as hard. You must push yourself harder than any other person. You must do whatever it takes for you to be able to get the result that you are looking for. Because most of us, what we do? We do the why me, I run a business. I understand how much it affects me that you do work, you can't be paid because people are not in the office. You start a business, there are people that you must pay salaries, but you cannot be able to get your own payments on the other side. But I can sit back here and say, why me? Or I can look on the other side and say, try me. What are the other opportunities that I can be able to see when this is happening? So most of us, I know we're going to fold our hands and say, why me? Why is this happening? The government does not want to help us. These people don't want to help us. The university say they will help us, they are not, and all that. There are a lot of those excuses that we can be able to have. So here's the truth about life. It's either you're going to get the results of your excuses or the results of your actions. At the end of the day, you are going to get the results, and you're the person who's responsible to get the results at the other side. And most of us, it's easier for us to sit back, and I understand that I'm a bit privileged. I've got Wi-Fi in the house. Say, this is what needs to be done. But understand this, I also have my own challenges. You also have your own challenges. And the challenges that you have are the challenges that you are supposed to defeat for you to make it out of this time. Most people will not make it. Other people will make it. Those that are going to make it are the people who are going to want it bad enough. You must be, and you'll excuse my French, you must be a badass to get the result that you are looking for. You can't sit back. You can't sit back and say, why me? Why is this happening? Is this coronavirus? Some people must stop it. No. Now it's time to accept the responsibility fully. My favorite statement of all time is, if it has to be done, it's up to me. If it has to be done, it's up to me. If someone has to pass this exam, it's not the lecturer, it's not the minister, it's not any other person, it's up to me. It means I'm going to make a plan. I grew up in the farms around Sanini, and my parents were working around the farms. And as I was going around and playing around with white kids around the farms, I learned this statement. It says, a buremak a plan, a buremak a plan, a buremak a plan. So it means when things get tough, a bure must make a plan. So you are the bure now that must make a plan. You must want it bad enough. You must be able to push yourself out of that situation. So the first thing is, like I spoke about, you're going to be shocked, you're going to be fearful, you're going to cry. And if you're going to cry, I'm not going to stand here and be a motivational speaker and say, don't cry, don't cry. Here's the thing. Get inside the room, close the door, cry. When you're done crying, get out, wipe your face and say, I want to go out, I want to do it. I want to go out, I want to take it by force.
Wow. Yeah, awesome.
I nearly said hallelujah and take offering already.
No, I feel like you're about to preach here, you know. But yeah, no, that's very true. One of the key things that we really need in life is learning how to take responsibility. I was reading a certain post on Facebook some weeks ago where somebody says, at a certain age in your life, you must stop blaming your parents, you know, for places that you don't have. So they didn't take me to school. So that's a common thing, you know, that we like to just find someone to blame and then we fail to take responsibility. I remember a few days ago, I did a short clip on my Facebook page where I was talking about, we don't know how long this lockdown will last. We don't know when it's going to end. But the question is, are we going to sit and wait for it to end, or are we going to start doing something while it's going on? Because at the end of the day, we need to reinvent ourselves. Let's launch ourselves under lockdown so that after lockdown, we are going to be the market leaders. I had a conversation with TJ some few weeks ago where you mentioned that this situation has leveled the ground. People that were so high and so ahead, it's like some things just crumble down and they're almost as equal as somebody who had nothing. So it's nations that had big economies, things are just so low. So it's the ground has been leveled. But the question is, at the end of this season, are you going to be the one who is still at the last, or you are going to take off with everyone and you'll also be one of those that will be on the leading platform? So it's the same, getting back
very interesting.
You know, to all the students that are catching up with us. And I see there's a question that's coming on. Guys, just throw your questions on a comment box there on Facebook, and we are going to attend to them in a couple of minutes. But
sorry, Oscar, to say on what you...
Sorry?
To answer, to add to what you just said now, you remind me of something that I wrote yesterday, that this season is going to help, it's going to break. So lockdown is going to break other people, while it's going to get other people to break their records.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say with what you're saying now. So some people are going to be broken, while other people are breaking their own records.
Correct. I think the fundamental thing, Oscar, and this is why I think I agreed for us to do this thing. And I think this is where people should comprehend it. We're not doing it because we really don't have things to do. TJ just went out of a very, very important webinar. I'm not saying this one is not important, but it's work related. I'm going on air just later today. You could imagine this is the time where I need to be home and preparing for other things. I'm busy with my studies as well. We didn't come here because of we want to massage people. And I think this has been the one thing that motivational speakers are being accused of, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, and I'm going to comment on that. We're not being unrealistic in our discussion, and we're not saying we know it all, but we are here because of there's a little bit that we know, and we believe that as we discuss this thing, you know, the three of us and with all of you guys there, we can reach to a specific conclusion, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. You know, what has worked for me and what would work for one of the listeners or the viewers on Facebook might not work for everyone there, and that is the nice thing about it. Now, what is critical here is to say, in as much as there's this challenge, you need to comprehend two things. That one, yes, we have a government, but just like you, the government didn't see this one coming. You get the point? They too have got a responsibility to safeguard their own leadership. Now, the responsibility here is to also remind you that you too have a responsibility. If it means that for you to make it, you need to, go an extra mile and touch certain individuals, then that's what it takes. Because to be quite honest, what makes number one, what differentiates number one and number last it's really that different effort. It's not participation. You know, we can all participate, but the effort within our participation is what will determine number one and number last. And look, it's the nature of life. There has to be number last. That's why we know there's number one. Now, we are saying maybe it's about time you think about the position that you want and the position that you deserve, because those are other two different things, TJ. People forget that just because you deserve and you desire, it doesn't mean that you'll be entitled. It all depends on how much you're doing, Oscar. You know, there's a lot of people that deserve to be authors. Rightfully so, they desire, but they've never written. I remember you told me that you used to walk to Bosman so that you can draw inspiration to write. There's other people who think,
that's a true story.
There's other people who think, "Ooh, that's uncomfortable." I mean, I'm sitting here and thinking, a good example of someone that has taken an uncomfortable step to create comfortability for themselves. Look, you've moved from your own country to come into South Africa, you know, and you are saying, look, there's hope. You were born here, and you're watching now. You were born here. You've got a roof and parents, or whatever the case may be. And I'm not undermining the challenges that you would have went through or that you still continue to go through. But I'm just saying that do not unconsciously assume that you are the worst case scenario. There's far deeper challenges that other people are facing, and it's about time that we wake up. And I think maybe we should sometimes change that the webinar next time and say this is a wake up call. TJ, I know you're seconding it. Maybe we should, that's what it should be about. That it's a wake up call to say yes, as you complain, what are you doing?
Sure. And that's very true. If we can find ourselves in the equation of saying, I want to make things better. I want to situate myself at a place where when anything passes by me, people will say it became better because it passed by you. Rather than be the one who is saying, I'm going to be announcing the problems. You know, some people are so known of crying out about the problems, no suggestion, no taking responsibility, no playing their role. So I think to everybody who is with us now, it's one thing that we have to take responsibility of everything that's going on, pertaining to our lives, pertaining to your career, pertaining to your studies. One thing that comes to my mind before I go to the question that I see there on Facebook, I was wondering on a practical space, guys. Let's consider we've got the issue of people that don't have access to internet. They don't have the resources. It's a well-known scenario. But I'm gonna try to put like a general ground here and say, let's just talk to somebody with what they have. How can they study at the best? Considering you've got a temptation of a TV, considering maybe you're living in a one room and you are three. What are some of tactics that one can work around now? You feel discouraged, demotivated. I did a quick poll on Facebook, I think you saw it, and most of the response I got were bad. People are saying their studying experience during lockdown is bad. So some few practical elements that you can just suggest. Like you said earlier, it's not a one size fits all, but just 3 keys that you can drop, each of you, before we tackle some of the questions that I'm seeing popping there.
You want to come first, TJ?
Sure. So the first thing is I grew up in a house where we're sleeping in one Radebe house, hut. Actually, it was called a hut. How many were we? 1, 2, 3. My 3 brothers, and then my 2 uncles. And then by then, my grandfather, it was just the time when electricity came through in our village. So my grandfather was sleeping in another room where the electricity and the main switch was in his room, and was not a big fan of education. So when it's time to sleep, he was switching off everything and everyone must just sleep, That time I'm doing my grade 11. I've got a mathematics textbook. If you remember the mathematics textbook, that big one.
Yeah.
And I had to study. So I had to buy a candle and I had to put it there and I had to sit back and study so that I can be able to go and write an exam. And then when you get to school and you are supposed to check the assignments, when you open the the textbook, you find that all the works from the candle are just full inside the textbook, you know?
Yeah.
And other students would laugh and all that. In other words, I'm trying to say that what makes us not get solutions is we concentrate on the problem, not on the solutions. I'll give you an example. I wrote a book called Supercharge Your Destiny that's full of affirmations. And then I changed now from affirmations to affirmations because I realized how much a powerful person's brain is. Instead of me saying, I am the best student in the world, I ask myself, how did I become the best student in the world? The brain has got its own abilities to create answers and give me answers to be able to know how did I come up with that. So the first thing is ask yourself questions that is going to trigger your brain to give you a solution to an answer for the problem that you are dealing with now.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very important because I know that it's not practical. Small room, 3 of you, you're supposed to study. Maybe you need to be able to wait for everyone to sleep and then you can study. There are a lot of scenarios that you can be able to use for you to be able to study. I can say, no, I can give you my state and say, go and do this and this and this. Because I stay in an estate, I can go and sit by the park and start writing notes and all that. Because on my side, I'm privileged. But on your side, what I'm saying is, what can you use where you are to get what you are looking for? One of my favorite quotes says, we have to do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. We have to do what we have to do so we can do what we want to do. That might mean then what I have to do is to go to my neighbor and say, hey, I'm looking for a space because I see you guys are not too many. There are a lot of people in my house. Can I come here during the day and sit back and just study? Then I'll go back home. There are a lot of scenarios you can be able to do that. Here's the thing. You will never get if you don't ask. So you need to go out and start to ask for people to help you. For instance, I'll give you an example. It's also now, I think, the right time for people to just raise their level of kindness. For instance, ever since lockdown started, I opened my Wi-Fi password here in my house so that my neighbor, if they want to use it, they can use it for free. If they have kids and they don't have internet, they can use my Wi-Fi. Why do I do that? Because I understand that at times like this, we need to also to raise a level of kindness a little bit higher so that someone can benefit a bit just by being here. I will charge you money for me to be on this thing, on this webinar to talk to you. But I have to take my time, come sit here because someone might get a little bit of help. So what am I saying? You have to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. Look at what you are having now. If what you are having now cannot be able to assist you to get a solution, who can help you? Look into your phone. How many people do you have? From the people that you have, can you find 10 people that you can ask them the same thing? If they can help you with data, if someone can help you with their own Wi-Fi, or if someone can help you with a space for you to wake up and go and study every day. I think that's something that I think can be able to assist someone, and it's a bit practical.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. You know, we have to be very practical. Yeah. Yes, we can.
Sure.
All right. I think for me, and I had mentioned it, I think in the Genesis statement that I made in the discussion, and my view has always been that the challenge here is the mindset that because you're not at varsity, you don't have a lecture that is going to hold you accountable, and so this is the time where you need to rotate role play. Already the government is giving us 350. So you can just request your siblings or cousins to say, for this 350, the president is paying you so that you can, teach me. So it's very simple. You get someone that is going to be the timekeeper in the house, who's going to manage your academic schedule. This is just the most practical thing ever. This is the time for teamwork. If your family, if everyone within, your immediate surroundings comprehends that you're a student, and this is primarily for students or learners, know that you're a student or a learner, and it is critical. And you remember that question on why should you be doing this? They understand that it is critical for you to pass. Then you need to lay down the foundation. Don't unconsciously assume that you know better than them because of you are in varsity and some are in grade 11 or some didn't make it. During my varsity days, my mom, who's a domestic worker who has never been to varsity, was the one person that would help me from time to time, and that is the nature of life. Even my cousins or my uncles, that is the nature of life. This is the time to swallow your pride, go to them. Basic things, you You request some of them to also, I mean, chapters have got, study notes in books. They've got study notes. You request them to, write set up a test for you. They mark it for you using the textbook. That is number one. Secondly, you get someone that is going to be the timekeeper, that is going to, direct the program. If it means that, and I know that a lot of people are using this time to play games, to do the many other things. If you feel that in the house there isn't enough support, the neighbors next door, because I know that even during this, lockdown, there is a little bit of social of movement that was allowed, where people can jog. When others are jogging in the morning, waking up to jog in the morning, this is the time where you wake up to jog on your books. So you need to first get someone that is going to manage discipline. Primarily, let it be someone that when they say jump, then you say how high. Be it your parents, your grannies. I know that my granny, I mean, she was, someone like that. So if you can get possibly someone older that is going to hold you accountable, because believe you me, accountability is the biggest thing. A lot of people, and I think I saw someone now typing it on Facebook, that the biggest thing is concentration. So the role play. People can't concentrate because they've got the liberty now of waking up at 12, binging on TV, eating, and going back to bed, chatting, right? So this is the time where you shouldn't, be on holiday. And remember that you are in a different boat. There's others. I mean, if I'm in grade 4 or grade 6, the pressure is there, but it's not as extreme as you who are doing a final year at varsity. It's not as extreme as you who are doing matric. Right? So we need to comprehend that you're not in the same bucket as the other. So my view is use the people around you. Use them for various positions and respect those titles that you've given them. Because it's another thing to give them, but it's another one to respect them. So you need to first give people and then respect them when they when they call you to account, because of that is the one thing that you're going to need. And I know that some days are more difficult than others. Take time. I'm a strong believer of prayer. Pray as well. God will give you wisdom. Read content that is going to, keep you motivated. There's a need for that. There's a need for you to be motivated because of, in as much as we see, and then I'm one of the people that are from time to time reporting on the statistics. That's the kind of work that we do. But you need to find positivity even within that, So you need to find positivity in that circle as well. So I think that is my view in regard to practically what can a person do. And the other thing, I think TJ mentioned it. We will never know what you need up until you tell us. No one will know what you need. You'd be shocked that your parents don't even know that actually you need help academically. All they know is you are requesting money for airtime or data, and they're thinking, no, this one is going to chat with boyfriends or girlfriends. And if they know what is happening, you're going to receive help. This is the time to cry out for help legitimately, and do not, be proud. Do not undermine people. Leave your pride away. Be humble. Allow other people to help you, irrespective of their how you view them, societally, academically, and whatsoever.
You remind me of one celebrity. They asked the question on, I think it was Idol's final last year, and they'll say, "What's your advice to the upcoming musicians?" And they say, "You must ask. You must ask."
Yes.
So, guys, let's make sure that we ask. It's very key. Let me just go to Facebook here. I see there are 2 questions that are there from Charlie. His first question is saying, "How can you advise a graduate who has given up to further his or her studies due to high youth unemployment?" I think one of you guys can take that one. Maybe let me give that one to TJ. Then Kitty, you take this one. What can you advise a young boy or girl who believes in pursuing their talent instead of doing school to study? So I think they're clear. So let's start with you, TJ.
So this one it's a question that I get the most. Why should I study while other people are unemployed? So for me, I always answer it simply, and it does not even need motivation. I say you are not the other people. That is the first thing you must think about. You are not the other people. You are not the one who's unemployed. You are actually, and actually you must look at it this way. So if you are not finishing, you are decreasing your chances of employment. For not finishing the degree, you are decreasing your chances of employment. So you need to finish the degree so you can increase your chances of employment. And here's another thing about school that people don't understand. Your degree is entry level. If you understand what I mean, in the workplace, your degree is the entry level. So your degree is the first step. The second step is what you learn after your degree. So if you look at companies like Amazon, Facebook, if you go to Silicon Valley, which a lot of companies I like there and I study, you will find out that now they don't even look at your qualification that you got. They look at the skills that you can be able to perform. So the first thing is you need to be able to first finish the degree. Don't let yourself become other people. And we suffer because of that. A lot of people a lot of people are doing this. You are putting yourself into this, what is it? You're putting yourself into this box of people who are not going to be employed. In other words, in my language, it has nothing to do with you. What it has to do with you is, are you running your race? I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to get a job after that. Let the unemployed be unemployed. I'm not them. I am me. And I'm going to look at it and look at what are the things that are making people not to be employed. I hear this a lot, and I know there's a problem with unemployment in South Africa. But every time you open a newspaper, there are positions. Have you seen that? When you go to PNet and other places where they employ people, they've got positions. What happens? Here's the truth. The truth is there's unemployment, but there's employment for exceptional people. So I finished my degree, but I position myself as an exceptional person, so I can become one of those few people that gets employed.
One of the few. Wow. Do you remember your
question? What's my question?
Your question is, what can you advise a young boy or girl who believes in pursuing their talents instead of going to school or to study?
Okay, I think it's an interesting question. Very, very, very honest and practical as well. I think what the person asked the question is to comprehend is that the nature of life is in such a way that it was not meant to be a one-size-fits-all, right? So it's okay to be different. I think what is important is to comprehend the lane you are in and do good in that space. A lot of people do things, and I would like to go back to what TJ was saying, that a lot of people do things for uniformity. They've got the pressure of saying, because a lot of people are celebrating and posting pictures about them having graduated, then I want to jump in. And I think that is the one reason that from time to time makes people not to succeed. It's because of you don't succeed because of it's your calling, but you're doing it because you want to tick the box. And that is what I think what has also TJ has made an academic, rather graduate unemployment to be so high. People go to varsity and on the day at the line and the queues where they're going to apply, you ask them, what are you going to study? They say whatever that is available. So it tells you that people have not planned. They don't know what they want to do in life. They don't know what is their calling. They just want to occupy universities for status, and that is inappropriate. But I want to go back as well to say, I'm not discouraging the role of education, because for me, education is not, just being certificated. It is knowledge, right? So knowledge is powerful. In fact, is powerful when it is being significantly put into the right usage. So it's essential for each and every person that is talented today to go and get some sort of knowledge. Because we've learned with time that talents, especially in various sectors, talent with time faces rigorous, transformations. And if you don't have any, scientific knowledge, you are bound to suffer, the crumbles of that. I'll give you an example. If you go into acting, there's a couple, the Fergusons. Their talent has helped them, but the scientific knowledge that they've also gained throughout the time has helped them to graduate within that space. If you look at football, there's footballers who started out in the field. Today we're seeing them on TV, and there's others who, after the talent, fall short. You get my point? So my view is pursue what you want to pursue, but be responsible enough to think about the end goal. There's a late guy, he was my residence manager when I was studying student politics, and he always reminded me one thing. He says, Mokete, when you enter into an office, already think about life after that. Think about the exit. If you have not thought about the exit, then you are a great obstacle to the cycle of life. Life must move. We are like water. You need to, from time to time, you need to think about this, the next step. You know, if you don't think about that, then that is where the problem is. I personally do not have. In fact, growing up, not a lot of people know this, but I grew up in the Kaiser Chiefs Academy. So I played soccer, and I thought, in my life, that is the one thing that I'm going to end up being. And I remember we had a very difficult conversation with my dad, who's late now, about education and football. And he said that it was in 2009 when he said, go to school. And my teacher as well, I think when I was, when I was now fully, because of I mean, 2009, that's when I made a decision that I'm joining professionally, because of I was now getting cleared from the developments, right? And at that point in time, I had to make a decision to say, okay, let me get my matric in any case. So I got a matric thinking this is just a matric. Then in 2011, I got a knee dislocation and I was in a professional contract. I had not, this is at the prime of my career, football career. I get a knee dislocation and it found that I was playing in the dusty streets of my country during the festive seasons. It needed between 35 and 70,000. I couldn't raise that money. I was depressed at that point in time. You get the point. But imagine but luckily I was already in varsity and I had just decided, you know what, let me just do this varsity thing. You know, because at the time it was a requirement. I think at the time I was playing for the University of Pretoria. So it was a requirement that now university teams want players to be students as well, you know. So imagine if the only thing I had was just my soccer career and I had not pursued my matric. You get my point? And so that sort of helped me to say, when this door closes, I can pursue this. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with anyone pursuing their talent, as long as you are sure that you've got scientific knowledge that you're going to fall back on. I mean, there's a lot of people, TJ now is a businessman, but he's highly educated as well. So there's nothing wrong with getting education and then going to set up your own business in any case. And this is where we get it wrong, Oscar. There's been a wrong sentiment that is being set up, that you go to varsity, you get a certificate, and therefore you're entitled for employment. The role of education is to enable your mind to think out of the box, be able to be someone that can live and sustain themselves. Be it starting your own business, be it being a consultant, you should be employed, if you're going that route. And with talent as well. Unfortunately, in this day and age, and I mean, you can see now, imagine if you are a musician and now there's this lockdown. I saw musicians are singing, there's these house parties and all these things. You are a musician, you are talented, but you have no knowledge about anything else. You need to be on Zoom to play, or you need to be on YouTube to play. So when you're going to suffer, you're going to just be a person that will operate during a specific time. So my point is, do not neglect the role of your talent. Pursue it fully. But think about other ways that you're going to make sure that you become an exceptional case, as TJ was putting it across.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're running out of time here. Just to wrap up, you remind me one event that we did sometime last year, and we're talking about education. And it was Mr. Matonzi, if I'm not mistaken, and he says, you need to make sure that you become a specialist. So like what TJ said earlier, just having your first degree, it's like your entry level. Getting a diploma, it's an entry level. But if you're going to be employed, the few that, the jobs that are advertised on LinkedIn and all these sites, the people that are being taken nowadays, it's specialists. People that have gone an extra mile in their studying, not just a general, studying. And looking at people that have got talents, in my book, Unshackled Unlimited You, there's a statement that I talk about, that an unprocessed raw material is cheaper than a processed raw material. So gold from the mine is cheaper when it's from the mine. But if it goes through some processes, it becomes more expensive. So when you've got your talent and you are not educated in any way, in any form, people can cheat on you cheat on your business. People can steal your product. People can steal your business. But when you're becoming an educated person, you put your talent to more value. You put your talent to more cost, you know, and you are able to make more profit out of it. So education is key. It's just necessary. In closing remarks, guys, I'm going to give you a minute each just to your last words to everybody who has been watching here and they're with us. I see it's 3:01 now. We just need to wrap it up.
Sure. Now I'll start. And then let me first make a comment on the talent, because it's something close to my heart. Talent, it's like a tree. The degree makes it a chair. Talent is like a tree. The degree, the education that you put behind it makes it a chair. That's number one. Number two, with regard to what we're talking about today, it's either you're going to enjoy now and endure later, or you're going to endure now, endure the pain now and enjoy later. Transformation comes from pain. So for you to go to the next level, you need to go through this pain in this period. Instead of enjoying now, go through the endurance of the pain and you're going to enjoy later. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, closing arguments. I think let me first thank you, Oscar, for coming up with this great initiative. It took a while, and for everyone that is benefiting today. But what is essential for me is, apart from the viewing yourself as a victim, you need to ask yourself this question every now and then. If you were to fail in life, what benefit would God get out of that? You get the point. So it is in God's own desire for you to make it in life, because once you've made it in life, you're a product that has been successful. So you need to start looking at yourself differently. Start looking at yourself as a winner, not as a victim of whatever circumstance that you've went through in your life. Just because of you were born or raised in a shack doesn't make you a shack. It makes you a person that has underwent life through that shack. Just because you were, born out of wedlock, or maybe your mom was a side chick, or you were not even played, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are, that circumstance. You are, a special case, and your time had to come. Nothing and no one could have stopped that part of your life. So start viewing yourself differently. Start taking yourself serious, and then the world will start respecting you. I think at this point in time in my life, I'm in a stage where nothing that is said by anyone can ever influence how I am, and that is why even I'm in a campus-based community radio station, but I don't take myself as that. You compare me with commercial people, I see myself as a commercial radio presenter. You start taking yourself that way, people are going to start respecting you as well. Age is just a number. Don't wait until you are 30 or 40 or 50. Start at 15 years old, start at 10 years old. You can be brilliant. In overseas, other children are doing it. Thank you so much for today. I know that there's greatness that is filled within each and every one of us. Just find it and run with it. Don't hide from the world the great treasure that is being stored in you.
Well, thank you so much, guys. TJ, thank you so much. Mokete, thank you so much. And to everybody who was watching with us, who joined us today, thank you for coming through. We're going to be coming back to you sometime next week. We'll announce Tipstock is well and alive. So we'll be going on every week and different topics that we are going to be covering. So just be on the lookout and take care of yourselves, guys. Let's study, those that are studying. And do your best. Take responsibility. Reinvent yourself. Don't be sorry. This is not a time to be sorry. This is the time to run. Many people became millionaires and billionaires during moments of crisis. So find your, let me speak the Bible language. Find your treasures in dark places and find your riches in secret places. So that's the time like this where we just have to do the best that we can with what we have and become the best. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Cheers, cheers, guys. Salute.